All right. Well, let's go. I think this has probably been one of the weirdest weeks with political news. I think last Monday we thought, hey, we have incredible optimism about the second half of the year. I don't know what's transpired. However, um, the market kind of responds these days to potential news more so than it does actual news. So I think that that's kind of interesting. But let's look granular and go from there. So let me get my screen up here. I want to start before we jump to the numbers. I want to hit an article that's talking about the market, and then we can kind of fact check it through the numbers. So on the South Florida Business Journal, there was this article that came out like I think that was Friday that said, by the way, before I jump into anything, happy Father's Day to everybody. Whether you're a father figure or not, it's certainly a fun day to celebrate. And I trust everybody had a good day with their father, or if you're a father, you enjoyed it as well. Um, all right.
That was the most important headline that didn't come out in the news this weekend. So
Father's
what can
Day.
you do? Yeah.
Well, there you go. All right. Uh, South Florida home sales climb, condo values dip. I'm not shocked by any of this. What this article, just the big headlines are saying is South Florida's single family home sales increased 7% in the month of May. So we actually saw an increase in single family in the month of May, and condos and townhome sales grew as well. Not to the same percentage. They grew by 3.4% in the month of May. However, the difference was we did see some price depreciation in the lumped together condos and townhomes, where we did not see price depreciation in single family. Um, but the good news is we actually sold more property. And I want to fact check this as we're running through our numbers today.
Yeah.
Uh,
Brett, let
Mortgage
me
rates
clarify that a
deflation.
little bit if
Go
you
ahead.
would. Because that puzzled me as well. So I did dive into it a little bit deeper. And as everything, realize this is the state of Florida. We're in the Tri-County area, and each of our counties is totally different. So I did some quick research for you.
All right.
Miami-Dade, year over year, condo median prices dropped from 430,000 to 415. So it was a pullback. Broward County dropped from 275 to 272, a very minor pullback. On the other hand, Palm Beach County went from 320 to 337. And
Okay.
every single price point in Palm Beach County, except 1.5 to 3 million and over 7 million, is still a seller's market.
Okay. I think you
So,
should repeat that, Richard.
okay. So Miami-Dade, median prices dropped from 430 to 415.
On
Okay.
condos? On condos.
In this is condos.
Okay.
Broward County dropped from 275 to 272. That's negligible. That means that market was flat. Palm Beach County, on the other hand, saw an increase in median prices from 320 to 337. And in Palm Beach County, every single price point except 1.5 million to 3 million and then over 7 million remains a seller's market.
Okay.
So, reason I'm bringing this up is again, when we read these national or statewide figures, you guys know your individual market better than anybody. Be aware that this is what the public is reading as well, or all other realtors are reading, and they go, "Oh, market's shifting. Oh, the condo market is off." Single family homes is staying strong. We just need to be able to really understand where these numbers are coming from.
Perfect. So let's look at the numbers and kind of see, right? Like um, right now, our real estate stats are centered around counties, right? And if you're not aware, we added St. Lucie as a county on here as an option if you start doing business up there. In the future, on our roadmap for this is we will be able to drill into either cities or zip codes and get a little more hyper local. But we had to start with counties and then we will drill down in the future. We started with counties and property type. So Broward County single family, a little bit softer active status inventory change. I expect this in July and August. I didn't expect this in June. But this year has been everything but what I expected. So we're just rolling with it. But 763 is still a good amount of inventory change. However, you can kind of see we were in the 800s a couple weeks out of the year, and then 763 is just a hair softer. Nothing to like panic about, but it's certainly softer, and we know that we've got an inventory challenge. So it would be ideal if this was higher, but it's not. It is what it is. There's less coming soon, sitting in Broward County single family right now. 186 went under contract in the last 7 days. That's down from last week. We had a big week at 211. But it's certainly up from June, 178 and 167. However, if you're going back to this article, they're talking about actual sales. So, from a closing category, what happened in May is in May there was 222, 269, 261, 291. These are some big numbers for Broward County single family in May, and that's probably why we saw that increase in or closings in the month of May. But we're not seeing those same numbers so far in June. We started with 213, then 231, and then 250. So they're good numbers, but not as high as the numbers we were seeing in May and or April. So there's definitely a softening happening in the real estate market, at least in this county and in this property type, right? Not falling off a cliff, just a softening. Richard, what do you think?
Um, yeah, it's just a softening. Doesn't really change anything for anybody.
But isn't it the
Um,
same every year? Because I feel that when we are speaking about, old family moving in general, they want to be settled before the summer. So June has been always like a little bit more down, I guess, in my
yeah,
memory,
yeah.
because
Now,
they want
Elsa,
to know
you're
what they need.
absolutely correct. When you go back into some of the other programs that we've used over the years, like Trend Graphics is the one I like for long-term trends. It's everything is just a continuous wave. And yes, for the rest of the summer, you'll see, and then that's a great example of it. You see the start of the slowdown, and then it starts picking back up again.
But
Now, this is
usually, like
normal.
if you
This
go
is
back to
nothing for anybody to
2020,
worry about.
you go back to 2024, June, July, and August were the peak months, and we stayed hot through those 3 months. If you go back to 2025, June was a little softer than May, and then July held, and August came in a little softer, and it held here. But the peak that month or last year was in May. So I may be able to make the same statement this year that the peak's probably in May and then it softened down, but it's not every year. Um, I mean, I could go, we're missing 2023 for some reason, but needless to say, the bell curve Usually goes up to March and then peaks in the summer. Um, but what's happened the last 2 years is it peaked in May. Anyway,
Yeah,
all
I
right.
hear you.
All right. So Broward County condo, 802, a little bit softer in the active status inventory. 122 is holding like pretty consistent with what it's been for the last 6 weeks. Um, we've got 96 in the pending category, which is down just a little bit, but we had 115 a week ago, which was consistent. So maybe it's just an off week, and 145 closed. But if you look at the numbers in May, 161, 197, 190, 238. Then you come to June, 169, 152, 144, 145. May was probably our peak month for closings. And then we're coming down on our bell curve coming out of May. Uh, let's look Miami-Dade, single family. Uh, Big drop in active status changes. They We were in the 700s, single family Miami-Dade, and then late May it died for a minute. That was Memorial Day weekend, and then it came back, and then we've slowed back down. 126 going under contract and 166 pending. Uh, I mean, same story. We only closed 136 in the last 7 days in Miami-Dade, where you had big numbers in May, 316, 261, 264, 175, and then it's been 158, 153, 153, 136. So May was the peak. I can pretty confidently say that right now, unless we have a second surge that came. If we look Miami-Dade condos, we had 792 come on the market. 93 went under contract, so it's still pretty consistent, but not as high as it was earlier in the year. But 149 went pending. So I don't know where this is coming out of left field, but a lot of property, maybe it's the World Cup. I don't know.
I
Uh,
didn't want to say it, but that's where my mind is going. Miami-Dade single family homes, they shut down because they're all watching the football games.
yeah. 111 closed out in the last 7 days. Um, if I'm just doing the same thing, May was 241, 197, 205, 123, and then we've seen less in June. Um, and there's probably seasonality to that too. Palm Beach single family, 698. So not as big of a drop in active status changes, properties coming on the market. There's a big number sitting and coming soon in Palm Beach. There's 202 that went under contract, which is down. 82 in pending, which is down. Year to date, lowest it's been. And then, but we had a big jump in closed, 295. So if I look, Palm Beach single family, May was 360, 313, 316. Memorial Day weekend off 264, and then June was 333, 316, 250, 300. So not as drastic in Palm Beach as the other two counties of falling off the month of May. And then condos, 533, which is the year-to-date low of new properties coming on. We had 101 go under contract and 64 pending. Pending seemed to be very consistent. Uh, Going under contract, 124. We're not too far off in Palm Beach condo. And then the closing number was 148. Going back to May, 251, 176, 179, 162. and then 169, 158, 132, 148. Certainly, June was softer than May. Thoughts, questions? Do you feel it? Come on, Father's Day is not a big party day, so I know you're not asleep.
Yes, it's slower.
Yeah,
Okay?
I think in our season for us that live by the beach, our season starts in October and usually ends in May. And then May, I always see a drop in May.
Yeah.
We
Well,
have,
do your sellers know this, Alicia?
yeah, they know that. They
Yeah,
know
I think
that's the reason they put the market property in the market in October, September. So that's when the snowbirds coming.
I think you can use some of these reports to help tell that story with your sellers too, that the market softened a little bit in the month of June. Because 9 times out of 10, they're pointing the finger at you saying something's wrong, right?
No, yeah, they know. I educate them every year like that. So that's why I say it's a good time to put in the market now in September. When they say, oh, let's put in like in December. I said, no, December is not a good day. You're missing 2 months. So it's good to start now. Like September, that's a good time to start putting properties in the market because that's when the snowbirds started coming in November. So they're ready to buy. Right now, we don't have enough buyers because they're all on vacation and it's too hot here. They left.
Yep. All right. I debated putting this next article up, but I'll do it. Um, the New York Knicks won the NBA championship. And what I love when a team wins a championship that probably wasn't necessarily the best team, but they won in spite of. The article on Inman talks about the Knicks just won a title on a night they couldn't shoot. Here's the lesson for real estate agents. Um, the Knicks ended a 53-year title drought by refusing to quit. And the championship built on missed shots and second chances, clear reminder, blah, blah, blah. Um, and it's telling a story. And then they said the 45 points everyone will remember. The second to last game, they overcame probably the biggest deficit in history. And then the real talking point here is what are the characteristics they brought to the table um, that caused them to win? And carry this into your week. It's saying, I don't have to play perfectly. I just have to play to the final buzzer. My misses don't define me. My next shot does. When my shot won't fall, I go get the second chance. And I think sports brings some interesting perspectives to business at times. And in 2026, you may not be having your best year ever, and some are, and we applaud you if you are. And how do you play to the final buzzer? You know, you've heard me talk about the next 60 days in the calendar are going to determine your 2026 because those activities you're doing right now are going to determine whether or not, they're really going to determine your relationship to your final performance, right? And I think this lesson coming out of the Knicks is they didn't give up. I mean, they literally could have quit when they were down 45 points at halftime, and they won the game. And in spite of what the market gave them, what the game gave them, I realize sometimes when I go sports, I lose the room. But I'm hoping somebody on here can help me connect some dots here that might be a Knicks fan or something along those lines. What do you think? You read this, Richard. What did you think?
One of the things I liked about it or picked up was we all know that Brunson was an incredible player during the series. He deserved the MVP, but some of the other top Knicks players who were always great scorers couldn't make a basket. They couldn't do what they're normally really good at. So what did they do? They made a record number of blocks. They took more rebounds than the Spurs did. And they were passing the ball on to their team members who were making the shots for them. So if what you're good at's not succeeding right now, don't give up. Don't get down in the dumps and just sit it out. Just switch your game up a little bit and change your focus. And that's what they did. And I think that's why they won. They were able to come together and help each other out.
There you go. All right, I'll move us on. FYI, Google is making serious plays in MLS listing world. This article is talking about how Google made your MLS listing more valuable. Here's what to tell sellers. Google is building its home search on MLS data. So that's big news for those building walled gardens, right? On Thursday, Google announced it's taking its home listings ads national. The new format puts real listings with photos, pricing, and home details right inside the mobile search results in all 50 states. So in the past, if people were looking for real estate, it would give them a link to a website to go look at that real estate. Now, Google is actually taking the listing data and putting it inside the search. That's a definite shift in real estate search. So I'm asking myself, if I'm a real estate professional, you're a real estate professional, what does this mean? I think it's going to change how you're found. I think it's going to change how your properties are found. Has anybody seen this yet? Has anybody noticed this in a Google search yet?
I didn't, but I know that Google is a huge part of feeding the AI research. So
Yeah.
it will change definitely the AI research.
The question is, like, if somebody's driving down the street, if I'm a buyer and I'm driving down the street and I see a property and I want more information, where do I go get that information? If I have developed the habit of opening up a Zillow app or a Realtor.com app or a Homes.com app or a KW app, I might go to that app. But I think the majority of consumers type the address in Google.
My clients now, and I'm speaking about clients even who are in their 60s or 70s, so not the youngest one, are sending me screenshot of whatever ChatGPT is sending them.
About an address, right?
Mhm.
Yes, they are making a search and they are not making a search on Google anymore. So they are making the search inside ChatGPT saying, hey, I want to have the alert. I'm looking for that neighborhood. This is the price that I'm looking for. And they receive everything through ChatGPT. So they are texting me their ChatGPT screenshot, who makes me crazy, but that's what they are doing.
Yeah. I am looking at buying a house and I went to AI and I said, this is what I want. This is my budget. And AI gave me two specific neighborhoods that fit my criteria and zeroed it in on two specific areas. And I did that just from a place of research because I think that's how the consumer is searching these days. Now, the million-dollar question we're trying to figure out here is how do we get found? Well, I think there was a day and age where you were playing an SEO game. You wanted your website to rank. I don't know that that's the game per se. I think it's still a game. I don't think that's the game. Then there was a day and age where your reviews on Zillow or Google Business was still a big part of how you were found. I still think that is a game. My question is fast forward, forward pacing. What's the game of the future of how real estate agents get found? Google I think we talked about it last week or the week before. For the first time in 30 years, it's changing their Google search. You know, when you go to Google, they haven't changed that screen in 30 years. And they're starting to change it now. And they're starting to make plays here. And Gemini is still a very powerful search engine. It sits up here at the top. I don't know if you can see my pointer, but it sits at the top of Google Chrome, right? So the question is Google positioning itself with our listings to potentially drive more business back to you? I put this stuff on here just to make us aware. And I always tell people, like, when things happen to the industry, like whether it was the NAR lawsuit or, uh, national MLS or private listing networks, our job first is to understand. And then second is to create a strategy around it. Right now, this is still trying to understand what's going on in the market, and we'll get to strategy in the near future, but we're just trying to understand what's changing. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Now, to answer your question, at $1 million, it's not even a $1 million. It can be like a $10 million. I have spoke with a lot of people about how to rank faster in all the AI tools, and no one has really a real answer for that. But I know that there is many startup who are trying to do that, and the way they are doing that, it's by just flooding the internet, the footprint internet. The more you have in the internet, the more you will be ranked into the AI. So it's not only your website, it's not only your review, it's like an everything. How many forum are you in? How many questions are you answering? All of that.
Yep. All right. A couple quick things. Um, are mortgage rates kind of at yearly highs right now? The answer is yes. I did see the rates come down a little bit over the last 7 days, which I anticipated with the announcement that we might be getting close to the end of the Iran conflict. Um, yet the buyer demand is holding, which I think should be great news to everybody on this call. The second half of 2026 hinges on whether demand stays positive. We are seeing it soften a little bit. Mortgage rates near their high. I've argued with Luke. He doesn't believe it. I believe it, that rates are going to come down second half of the year. Um, but watching pending sales, purchase apps, and all those things, right? Our pending home sales data week to week, though results can be affected by holidays, short-term fluctuations. Um, it takes 30 to 60 days to show the reflect of that data. We're going to watch it, right? We're going to watch those pending home sales, and we're going to watch where mortgage rates go. If the rate was above 6.64, it's always shown historically to affect demand. We are below 6.64 right now. I don't think we're going to see rates above 7. Um, but pending sales for the last week over the last 2 years are up. If you're looking at this black line, for the majority of 2026, we've been above the previous 2 years in pending home sales. And these are national numbers, right? You got to get hyper local. Um, but it's saying that the buyer of today is a little bit resilient to what's going on nationally, internationally, what's going on with the mortgage rates. Um, and I think that's good news to all of us on this call. Richard, any final comment?
Take a look at this graph, and this goes back to what we were talking earlier with our local statistics. Markets increased dramatically from January through May, and then you have a slow tailer off for the rest of the year with it. This is a perfect graph to show that on a yearly basis, Brett.
There you go. The other graph is this mortgage purchase application. This is a leading indicator of where we're going. For the majority, with the exception of 1 week in April, we've had more purchase applications in mortgage than any singular week last year. So that just says that buyer demand is stronger this year than it was last year. Last thing I wanted to hit, which I thought was interesting, is there's this article on the South Florida Business Journal that says the home flipping sector just hit a milestone. It could be a game changer for investors. Typical profit margin for a flipped home grew 25% in the first quarter of 2026. The flipping rate was up 7% in the fourth quarter of 2025 to 8% in the fourth quarter of 2026. Investors are starting to flip houses at a little bit higher rate than they were in the past. The metro areas with the lowest profit margin for flippers were in Texas, so that we're not in Texas. Here's the question. Did you used to have an investor business in the past? Did they go dormant on you? Should you be calling your investors now and picking up some additional sales and helping them find some properties to flip? Because the investors are starting to lean into it at a little bit higher rate than they were in the past. What do you think? Anybody working with investors?
My investors have been pretty quiet, but I have noticed I've got a wholesaler friend. All of a sudden, he's back and doing things. He hasn't done anything in like 2 or 3 years. Been interesting.
I think the investors are coming back into the markets. What I'm
Yeah, I'm
reading.
working with someone this week. Well, since last week, and I'm hoping he's going to put in an offer since on Friday offices were closed. I think his financial advisor is getting his paperwork ready for this week to put in the offer. So,
Is he going to flip it? Is he going to flip
no,
it?
he plans, it's in Fort Pierce, so he plans to sit on it for a little while.
Okay.
But yes, eventually.
Anyway, I put this on here just to put it in your reticular activating system. Might be a good week to reach out to your investor clients and touch base. Got it?
Got it. Thank you, Brett.
Final thoughts?
Look at the quadplexes and duplexes. They're sitting on the market for a long time.
Yeah, all of them are.
All right, guys. Have a good week.
Thanks, Brett.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys.